We are going to move into our reading lesson now, and it looks like we're getting most everybody back, so that's perfect, okay? One thing that I noticed when I was reviewing your work from last week is that we are getting very good at finding evidence. We know where our answers are, but we are still really struggling with identifying keywords and clue words, okay? Almost every single person that completed a Find the Evidence activity last week had to have it sent back to them because they forgot or did not correctly find keywords and clue words, okay? So we're going to spend some time on that because it's clear that I need to teach you a little bit more and that we need more practice as a class, and that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and take a look into that lesson today, okay? All right. Let me get this going for you. Now, today we're going to try something new. We are going to attempt to have you toggling back and forth, taking some notes with me and completing an activity with me, okay? So be prepared for that, but for now, I want to review our goals. So remember, this is our standard that we're working on. The state has asked us to ask and answer questions to demonstrate understanding of a text, referring explicitly to the text as basis for answers. And this is a very good skill because you'll use this the rest of your life, no matter what you read, if it's something for a job, if it's something that you enjoy, if it's for a book club that you're in, if it's for instructions on how to put something together, you will have questions about it. And you'll be thinking about how to find the answer to those questions. So this is a very important life skill. Remember, we're specifically working on asking questions to show we understand and answering questions to show we understand, okay? It's this asking questions that I want us to spend some time on so we know what we're asking for, okay? So step one, use keywords. We're going to talk about those a lot today. Step two, use clues. We're going to talk about those a lot today because these two are where we're struggling, okay? I have a picture for you. I'm going to open up that chat, and inside of the chat, I would like for you to type the questions that you have, okay? So take a look at this picture. What questions do you have about this crazy picture? Go ahead and begin typing some questions. Make sure that you put them to everyone. If you put it to me privately, nobody else can see your question. So make sure in the to box, it says everyone. Take a look at this picture. What questions do you have? What are they doing? How is he riding that chicken? Why is the hen so big? There we go, let's see some more. Remember to click that drop-down menu and select everyone. Good, Kennedy sent it to everyone. Why is the man riding a chicken? That is a great question. Even if a chicken was big enough, I don't think I would ride it. I don't trust chickens. They look like they want to peck my eye out. What happened? Yeah, what in the world happened to even get him there? Where is he? Why is he riding the chicken? Why is the man so tiny to the chicken? Yeah, I've never seen a man look that small next to a chicken in my life, even a baby. How did they get so big? How was he so small? How did they get on him? Yeah, how'd they get on that chicken? I don't see any harness on it. How'd he get up there? Where did he get that chicken? How did they get fat? Somebody thinks those chickens look fat. That's funny. Let's take a couple more questions. What about a when question? I haven't seen a when question yet. Somebody throw me a when question about this picture. How many chickens are there? Ooh, we can only see 2, but Josh is wondering, are there more? How did they get to ride that chicken? When will he get off the chicken? Great question, Kennedy. I would not be riding a chicken that long. Awesome. All right, I'm going to switch this over to me. Good question. So we are very good at asking questions. Now we need to identify the keywords and the clue words inside of those questions, okay? I'm going to model this for you, so I'd like for you to very carefully watch with me, okay? Watch with me what I'm doing, and I need to open up a program so that I can do that. There we go. So this is a text that we've seen before. We've seen this text about the Dalling family. If you'll remember, James goes into his kitchen and there's water everywhere, and he's trying to figure out where the water came from, okay? We're going to focus specifically on those keywords and clue words. So I'm going to look at my questions first. My keyword already has a box. It's a what question. That tells me that I'm looking for a noun. I'm looking for a place or a thing of some kind. What was the floor covered in? I'm caring about the floor, and I care about what it's covered. I don't care about what color the floor is. I don't care about when the floor went in. I care about what was the floor covered in. Those are my clue words, okay? These are clues. They tell me what I'm looking for in the text. So let's take a look at this question. What was the floor covered in? I'm going to read. The Dalling family walked into their kitchen from the back door. The floor was covered in, oh, look at that. Look at my clue words right here. They're right here in the story. The floor covered in is in the question, my answer. The floor was covered in water, and there's my noun. My thing that the floor was covered in is water. So these clue words help me identify the correct information for my answer because they match up exactly. Do we see that? Let's take a look at another one just to show why these keywords and clue words are so helpful. My keyword is which. Your keyword is usually the first word in a question, and it's usually one of those W questions. Which, that means a choice. I have this or that. I have a choice. Which clothing items did James remove? Ooh, look at this, before walking around. There's lots of clues here. I don't care about later on that night when he removed his clothes to get in his pajamas. I care about before walking around, okay? So which clothing items, that's what I'm looking for, the names of clothes, clothing items. Let's take a look. James rolled up his pants, took off, oh, look at that, took off, that's another word for remove, took off his socks and shoes and started walking around. Look, before walking around, do you see that? He did this before he walked around. He didn't want to get that water muddy from his shoes, and he certainly didn't want to get his socks soaking wet. So before walking around, my answer is before, and the clothing items are socks and shoes. So again, these clue words help me identify exactly where in the text I'm going to find my answer. So socks and shoes. This time we had a time clue with the word before. And if you look before or in front of walking around, we see it right there. They are names of the articles of clothing. Okay, let's take a look at our last one. Keyword, this is the first thing I should always do. It's asking me a why question. Why? So I'm looking for a reason, an explanation. Why did James not think the fridge was the problem? We're talking about James' thoughts, and we're talking about him not thinking the fridge was the problem. Okay? The fridge. We're not talking about the cabinet. We're not talking about the dishwasher. We're not talking about the sink. We're talking about the fridge. Okay? Why did James not think the fridge was the problem? Let's keep reading where we left off. He walked to the sink and opened the cabinet. There wasn't any water in the cabinet, so he knew it didn't come from there. This isn't helpful to me because I'm looking for the fridge. My clue words told me to look for fridge, so I'm going to keep reading. He kept walking. He walked up to, what did he walk up to? The fridge, and opened it. There were no clues to tell him the fridge was the problem. So why did James not think the fridge was the problem? There were no clues to tell him that. There were no clues to tell him the fridge was the problem. So that's what I'll write as my answer. Why? Because there were no clues. So boxing this keyword and underlining these clue words will help you identify the information. Look, the fridge, the fridge. See that? Problem, problem. They match up in the text. So there were no clues. They can be a signal to you that you are in the right part of the passage, okay? So this is what we need practice with, putting a box around the keywords and underlining those clue words, all right? You're going to begin some practice with me today. I am going to go ahead and skip forward a few slides and move on to 48. There we go. I'm going to ask you to practice with me. So I'm going to call on some people to unmute, okay? I want to hear from people who feel confident so that we can get practice if we're still struggling. This question says, how did Wally feel about the cookies he was selling? How did Wally feel about the cookies he was selling? If you feel like you know what the key word is, the key word, go ahead and use that hand emoji. How did Wally feel about the cookies he was selling? What's the key word? Angel, go ahead. What's the key word? What should I put a box around?
How.
Very good, Angel. This is a how question. How? So we're looking for a way, okay? Good job, Angel. How did Wally feel about the cookies he was selling? What's our clues? What do we want to know about? What are the clue words here? What should I underline? Kennedy, go ahead. What should I underline, Kennedy? What are my clue words? Who's the question talking about?
How he felt about the cookies.
Beautiful. How Wally felt about the cookies. We don't care about how Wally felt about the brownies. We don't care about how the mom felt about the cookies. We care about Wally and his feelings about cookies. Okay, let's take a look at this now. Wally Amos. If you've ever eaten Famous Amos cookies, this is about the guy that made them. Famous Amos are one of my favorite store-bought cookies, so I love this passage. Wallace Wally Amos was born in Florida in 1937. In the 1970s, Wally founded the Famous Amos Chocolate Chip Cookie Corporation. His company did very well. People liked the chocolate chip cookies, and people liked how excited Wally was about the cookies he was selling. Ooh, look at that. Excited, that's a feeling word. Excited, and look, it's about Wally, and there's Wally. And it was about the cookies. Look, the cookies, and even more. He was selling. Look at the end part of our question. He was selling. Do you see that? These clue words are very, very helpful. Okay, they help us because they match in the text. So how did Wally feel about the cookies he was selling? Right here we have our answer. Excited. He felt excited. Okay, very good. Now I'd like for us to try that toggling activity, okay? So here's what's going to happen. On your seesaw in a moment, you are going to open up an activity that was just released to you a few seconds ago. So in your activities, you have something that says find the evidence fiction. Now here's what you're going to do. You can see that I have seesaw. You can see that I have Zoom. I'm going to be clicking back and forth between Seesaw and Zoom if I'm a student. Seesaw and Zoom. Some of you down here have an icon that looks like a camera, and that's how you get in your Zoom. See this? Here's my Zoom for you guys. So you're either going to click your tab or you're going to click your camera down here, and you're going to go back and forth so you can see my screen, and then you can do your work. Okay? I want us to watch this video of instructions first. And then we're going to go ahead and practice one of these together. And during work time, you're going to do it alone. Okay? All right, here we go.
In this task, you will have two different fiction texts to read and answer questions. You can scroll between the two texts over on the right side of your screen. Make sure you read both texts and answer all the questions. If the print is too small for you, up here in the top left corner, you can click on the magnifying glass with the plus sign. Then you can increase the size of the text. While you have that increased, if you come down here, you can scroll up and down to make sure that you can read everything. If you are having trouble scrolling without it making marks like that, then you can click on the pointed finger and it will scroll without making any marks. After you have read the text 3 times, read the questions. For my first question that is blue, I will start with a blue pencil so that I can correctly make sure I know what I'm looking for. Who threw paper away at the beginning of the story? I am looking for a who, so I will put a box around that. Threw paper away, and then beginning are my keywords that I want to come back into the text and look for. I know it's the beginning, so I want to go back to the top for who threw paper away. And I have found scrap paper, threw it. So I am going to use my highlighter in blue, and I'm going to highlight that. Dante crunched his scrap paper into a ball and threw it into the trash. I will then move on to my next question, which is yellow. So I will go back to the pencil and make it yellow. Again, make sure you do both texts. Do your best work. Read it 3 times so you are aware and familiar with the text. Box your clue words and underline your key words to look for.
Okay, so again, we're going to be taking some focus time on boxing those keywords and underlining those clue words. So if you have not already done so, go to Seesaw now, please. And go ahead and click on that Add Response button for Find the Evidence Fiction. Go open that up in another tab in Seesaw, and you're going to go back and forth. If you were in the physical building right now, this would be like looking down at your desk and then looking up at the teacher. So you're looking at your work, and then you're going to look at the teacher's work. That's what we're going to do here with 2 different tabs, okay? So you're going to look at your work, and then you're going to look at the teacher work. When I click Add Response, it will open up these directions for me. If you come back to my screen, so look back at the teacher's work in Zoom, I'm going to show you a couple of those tools that Ms. Sharp highlighted for us. This magnifying glass allows me to make my work larger. So if I click that plus sign, I can see. A couple of you were telling me the work was too small for you to see. Just click on this plus sign inside of the magnifying glass, and then it can make your work larger for you, okay? That right there is a good size for me, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it right there, okay? So this plus sign can help you. Now I'm going to go ahead and begin. So with your Seesaw open, go to your work. I'd like for you to click on that pencil and make it a color of blue. I don't care what shade of blue you use, any shade that you prefer. And it says who. This is the one that Ms. Sharp just did for us, so we already know this one. Who threw paper away at the beginning of the story? We're looking for who threw paper away, and it's going to be at the beginning. So go ahead and underline those clue words. I have not even started reading the text yet, and that is on purpose because I need to understand what I'm looking for before I read this text. Who threw paper away at the beginning of the story is what I'm looking for. Beginning tells me to go to the top, so I will start reading. Dante crunched his scrap paper into a ball and threw it into the trash can. Who was Dante? I'm going to switch to that highlighter now and also make it blue. And I'm going to highlight that Dante crunched his paper into a ball and threw it into the trash. Notice that I have threw and paper in my highlighting because through and paper is inside of my question. So those clue words help me, okay? Go ahead and come back to my work. So go to that Zoom tab to see if you highlighted, boxed, and underlined correctly. Aiden G. So you had your hand up, Aiden G. Did you have a question for me?
No.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Just had it still up. All right, great. Okay, let's go on to that yellow. Yellow's next. I'm going to switch back to my pencil. I'm going to select a shade of yellow that I like. I'm going to make it a dark yellow so that I can see easily. From what is paper created? This is a what question. So I'm going to put a box around what. Now, it's not at the beginning of our question because they worded this with the preposition first. But this is still a what question. So we are looking for a noun of some kind, okay? From what is paper created? My clue words are paper and created. I'm looking for what makes paper. Now, you might know this, and that is fantastic that you already have the answer in your head, but that is not explicitly in the text. Our standard is not assessing your background knowledge. It is assessing your ability to read a text and find an answer. So we need to find evidence using our highlighter tool for this. So switch to your highlighter. I haven't read what creates paper yet, so I'm going to keep reading the text and see if I can find this answer. Boom, baby, he called to his friends as it sailed into the wastebasket. Dude, you hardly use that, his friend JJ cried. Dante looked at him and shrugged. JJ shook his head. You could use that again and save paper. You know that paper comes from trees, right? Ooh, comes from. I know that that means created. I'm going to highlight what his friend JJ said, or what his friend JJ said here. You know that paper comes from trees, right? So we have our answer. Our answer is trees. Comes from is another word for created. Okay, if I create something, it comes from me, right? So if I create a Lego set design, I would say that came from my brain. That was my creation, okay? You know that paper comes from trees, right? Is what we should highlight. If you aren't finding that, you can switch back to my screen on Zoom and you can see my answer in front of you. So I found my noun. My next question is red. And again, notice that I'm reading these questions as I go, because then I don't have to read the whole story 5 times. We've already answered 2 questions and we've only read that first and second paragraph. So we're saving time here, okay? Click on that pencil. It says red, so change that to red. Our first step of attack the question is to put a box around that clue word. So I'm going to put a box. Where? This is a where question. I am looking for a place. Where? Where is the school's recycling dumpster? We care about the school's recycling dumpster. This question is not asking where is the cafeteria. It is not asking where are the boys. It's asking where the school's recycling dumpster is, okay? While you box that question and underline, I have a few hand emojis, so I'm going to take some questions. Genova.
Oh, I didn't have a question.
Gotcha. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Aiden Leachman.
Is it okay if we don't use that kind of red?
Yeah, you don't have to use the exact same color or shade, but I do want it to be red. So if it's a red question, don't choose green, but it can be any shade of red that you like, dark or light. Okay? Thanks for clarifying, bud. I appreciate that. All right, so now I'm going to switch to my highlighter and make it red. Where is the school's recycling dumpster? So far, Dante and JJ have not talked about the recycling dumpster, so I know that I don't have to read this again. I can keep reading to find the rest. Okay, so here I go. It's just one piece of paper, JJ, not that big of a deal, Dante replied with a shrug. I mean, look at that trash can. I'm not the only one. That's the problem, JJ said. It's not just one piece of paper. It all adds up. Wasting paper means that more trees have to be cut down. Hey, Dante exclaimed, what if we put a recycling bin next to every trash can so we could recycle that paper instead of throwing it away? Now, I could see some of your eyes got big because you heard recycling, which is fantastic. But look here, this says recycling bin. Our question is not about a recycling bin. Look down here. It's about a recycling dumpster. Do you see that? Do you see why those clue words are important? We're looking for a dumpster, not a bin. So we're going to keep reading. Their teacher, Mr. Hall, heard them. That sounds like a great idea, Dante, but someone would need to collect the paper and take it out to the recycling dumpster. Ding, 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 ding. Where's the recycling dumpster? Let's keep reading. Recycling dumpster by the playground each week. See that? It's by the playground. If you're stuck, switch back to my Zoom so you can see my screen. It's by the playground. Do you notice how it says recycling dumpster in the question? It says recycling dumpster in my answer. I did not highlight recycling bin because that's not my question. My question was, where is the dumpster? Okay, so that's what we found. Give you a moment to see that. I see that Miss Vianney has a question. Yes, ma'am, Miss Vianney.
I use the bathroom.
You what?
I have to use the bathroom.
Sorry, baby, I couldn't hear you. Try one more time.
I have to use the bathroom.
Okay, we're coming up on our break here in a couple minutes, in about 5 minutes, okay? All right, purple. Let's switch back to that pencil so we can box the keyword and underline the clue word. This is a purple question. It is a why question. We're going to put a box around why. This tells us that we're looking for an explanation or a reason. Why are more trees being cut down? We care about more trees and we care about them being cut down. We don't care about why more trees are being planted. We don't care about why more green beans are being planted. We don't care about why more green beans are being cut down. We care about trees. So we're looking for trees being cut down. Now, I actually remember the boys talking about this. So I'm going to switch to my highlighter, and because I've already read the text, I'm going to go back up. I remember when JJ was explaining why trees had to be cut down. So I'm going to go scan through. Scanning is when I read quickly and I look for those keywords. I'm looking for trees and being cut down. So far, I haven't seen it. Oh, look here. It's not that big of a deal, Dante replied. I mean, look at that trash can. I'm not the only one. Yeah, this sounds right. I remember JJ said something. That's the problem, JJ said. It's not just one piece of paper. It all adds up. Wasting paper means that more trees have to be cut down. Oh, look, be cut down trees. We found it. Wasting paper means that more trees have to be cut down. So we found our explanation. Why are more trees being cut down? Because of wasting paper. Wasting paper. So we found an explanation. We also found that our answer had our clue words inside of it. Okay, these help us identify information. I'm going to leave this up here. I'm checking to see if there are any questions. I don't see any hand emojis. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Our next one is green. Now I zoomed, so I actually have to scroll down a little bit to see my green. So I'm just going to scroll down and look, it saves my work. Okay, so I'm going to choose a color of green that I like, a shade of green. That one looks nice to me. This is a how question. How is the recycling club going to help? This is about the recycling club. We're looking for an explanation of a way that the recycling club is going to help. Okay? Now, I haven't read about a recycling club yet, so I'm going to keep reading after my last highlight. Let's read what the boys are talking about. We could do that, cried JJ. We can be the recycling club. Dante grinned. Let's do it. Now look, I found the words recycling club, but I didn't find how they were going to help. So I'm going to go back up a little bit to see what they were talking about. I'm going to start at this next paragraph. Their teacher, Mr. Hall, heard them. That sounds like a great idea, Dante, but someone would need to collect the paper and take it out to the recycling dumpster by the playground each week. Oh, that's what JJ was saying. We can do that. So I have a long piece of evidence here. Someone would need to collect the paper, and look, I've got a double highlight. Sometimes that happens. And take it out to the recycling dumpster each week. And then JJ said we could do that. We could be the recycling club. Take a look at how long that evidence is, and it goes over some evidence I've already found. That happens. Sometimes an answer is found in the same place as another answer, so it's okay. I just highlight over it, and then I can see both colors. So someone would need to collect the paper and take it out to the recycling dumpster by the playground each week. Then JJ says we can do that. We can be the recycling club. Okay, so that's how they're going to help, by collecting the paper. Aiden Hampton, I see your hand. What can I do for you, sir?
How are we supposed to write in the bottom if the pencils are in the way?
So watch this. Look at my screen. I'll give you a second to get there. When I start drawing, look, see that? The pencils go away. So you just got to click it and hold it, and it'll take it away. So now I'm going to erase it. I click, and they get out of the way. Okay, there you go. Great question. All right, now we're moving on to orange. Select a shade of orange that you like. Get in that pencil. Our first step is always understand what the question is asking by figuring out the keyword. When will they need to collect paper? This is a when question. We are looking for a time. When. And again, to make those pencils get out of the way, just click and hold and it will take it away. When, we're looking for a time, and the time that we're looking for is when they need to collect paper. Okay? We don't care when they're going to lunch. We care when they need to collect paper. So I'm going to switch to my highlighter, and I've read this text a couple times now. So I actually think I know where this answer is. When will they need to collect paper? Look right in here. We just highlighted it. Mr. Hall said someone would need to collect the paper to take it out to the recycling dumpster each week. Look at that. There's 3 answers right here. That's my other answer. 3 answers in the exact same place. Each week. When will they need to collect paper? Each week, it says. So every week, they've got to collect that paper. So now I have one location with 3 colors on it, and that's okay. Sometimes your answers will come from the same place. Yes, Miss Genova.
Is our break now?
It's coming up as soon as we get done with the instructions. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So this is the example that we have done together. If you didn't get to finish, or if you were a little bit behind, I've saved this as the sample student and you can see my work. Okay. Now, over here on the right side, click on the 2. This is the one that you're getting ready to do on your own during work time, okay? And remember, the first step is to box the keyword. Box the keyword. Second step is to underline the clue words. Third step is to find the evidence, okay? You have 3 steps. If you only turn in work with evidence underlined, you have done 1/3 of the work. 1/3 of the work would be a 33%, which is an F. Okay, I am not caring about if you only know the answer, because our standard, our responsibility says we also have to show that we understand by asking questions. So I need to know that you understand what the question is asking you. So your work should look exactly like mine did on that first page. There are 6 questions, so I have 6 boxes. There are 6 questions, so I underlined 6 clues. There are 6 questions, so I have 6 answers. Okay? So that is what you need to be working on right now, is showing all steps to attacking the question. Okay?